Well, I guess this is the year for crappy horror movies. Alright, hey guys, I'm back. Sorry about the long hiatus. Basically what just happened is I've still been watching movies, I'm still trying to catch up on things, and I'm still doing my best to keep up with my release track, but just a lot happened in the last few weeks. It just demanded all my attention. I just have had no energy or time or ability to just sit in front of the camera and just knock some of these out of the way. That being said, I have watched quite a few movies in the last few weeks, and I am still slowly catching up to a lot of the big releases that came early this year that are going on streaming now finally, which means I'm more to watch those, and other ones that are going on streaming, like The Meg 2 just recently went on HBO, so I'll probably watch that at some point. Just an example, Mission Impossible 7 finally came out on streaming, so I'll definitely watch that one. But I figure I would start with just, I think I have 5 movies on the docket right now, with more as I keep watching them on streaming. So we're going to start with the one I saw in theaters more recently, which is The Nun 2, which I don't even think is in theaters anymore, but it'll probably be on streaming pretty soon, which is, of course, the latest movie in the Conjuring shared universe, and God help you if you remember what actually happened in the first movie. I know I sure as fuck didn't, so thankfully this movie was able to catch me up on what happened there. Kind of the same situation as the last Insidious movie. And I have some thoughts about that, I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, The Nun 2 sucks. It's bad. It's a bad movie. It's a bad, boring movie. I almost fell asleep twice watching it. It's just really, oh God. Where to begin? I saw it a few weeks ago, so I have to like force myself to remember that I saw this. Apparently what happened in the first movie, as I'm reminded by in this movie, is that, of course, there is this demon who disguises himself as a nun because irony purposes, I don't know, really, I'll get to that in a bit. And she was stopped by using the artifact that had the blood of Christ. The blood of Christ is able to repel the demon, and that was able to banish her back to the underworld. But the nun demon piggybacks on one of the other survivors from the first movie, whose name I forget, but he's like a caretaker guy. Seems like a lovely man. I'm sure he's perfectly fine. But since the first movie, he has since moved to like this private school where he works there as a caretaker. And he has kind of like a on and off like this romance with one of the teachers there he's into, but the nun is starting to possess him and he's starting to come back, so therefore the church gets involved again and recruits the nun girl from the last movie, whose name I forget, with another nun. I can't remember anyone's fucking name. Everyone in this movie is so fucking forgettable. I'm gonna try to quickly Google it, as I often do for these movies. Help me out here. Irene is the name of the nun who is now sent to find the demon from the first movie and find out what she's after and stop him. Now here's the thing with these kind of legacy horror movie sequels we've been getting this year, between this and Insidious. I can see what Insidious was trying to do. I see what it want. Like, I could see what the pitch was. I could see what point it was trying to make, and it wasn't a bad idea on paper. It made sense. It was trying to be like a discussion about generational trauma. Noble intentions, terrible execution. This one, you can tell, was just incredibly fucking lazy from the get-go, because you can tell the entire. Oh, shit. I meant to do that. Because you can tell the entire pitch of this movie was, hey, the last movie made just enough money to justify a sequel, so let's just shit one out and call it a day. Because the entire thing about the nun as like a horror character is that there's absolutely nothing to this villain. It really feels like it started and stopped on, hey, doesn't this design look a little spooky? Can we milk that for 2 films? 2.5 if you count The Conjuring 2. And that's really where it is. That's really where it begins and ends. Every nun scare in this movie is just the nun in some, like, stares at you for a bit and then goes bleh. Like, that is 90% of the jump scares in this movie. There's also a goat man that appears out of fucking nowhere at one point for some reason. And it just feels lazy. It feels hapdash. It feels slapped together. It has every kind of stock character you can think of. The random bully girls who are just needlessly cruel for the sake of being needlessly cruel. The caretaker guy's nice. I liked him. And it feels like, well, like Insidious the Red Door had a point it wanted to make about generational trauma. It feels like the point of this movie is oh, if you have doubts about the church, you have doubts about like Jesus and the God and all that stuff, you're just not believing hard enough. Any criticism you might have about the church is completely fucking wrong. If you believe and pray hard enough, you can also turn, spoiler alert, all the wine in the fucking, like, I don't know, dispensary or whatever the hell it's called, like wine cellar, into Jesus's blood, which is what destroys the demon at the end. It's honestly really fucking stupid. Oh, it's not even that she believes hard enough. It's because she has an ancient blood, like that Irene has an ancient bloodline that gives her like Jesus superpowers or some bullshit. That's what kills me. Thinking back to them, just saying it out loud, it's so dumb. This is just a lazy fucking horror movie, and I feel like it fucking knows it. This is a cheap cash grab, and there was a teaser at the end to tease another goddamn Conjuring movie, and really, like, this franchise should have stopped at 2, because it once James, like, was it John Woo? No, God, who directed? Not John Woo. Oh God, James Wan, guy who directed Aquaman. I'm gonna try. I feel really insulted. Like, it feels really insulting not to know his name. I'm gonna track it down super quick. James Wan. I was close. James Wan. Without James Wan, this franchise just has no beating heart, no creativity, no nothing. It's just crap. And like I said, I almost fell asleep twice. The only interesting part was, like, one of the other nun in this movie is black, and she has some very valid points and critiques about, like, the church and all that stuff, but she's basically just dismissive. Oh, you just don't believe hard enough, which is, like, her arc through the movie. Her name is Deborah. Deborah's the other nun, who is also, like, the competent one. Like, she actually, like, sweet talk the people in the hotel, like, give them the room. She actually seems like she has good head on her shoulder, has good survival instincts, but somehow Irene's the protagonist because reasons. And another case of just people making dumb decisions because the movie needs to happen. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, and her whole arc is that Deborah doesn't believe enough, despite having very valid criticisms of the church. And here's the thing about the nun as a concept: is with just a little retooling, you can make it kind of work. If you make it about, I'm sorry, my Marines are playing something very loud at the moment. I think it's Chicago, but I digress. But because if you make the nun monster like a commentary on like corruption in the Catholic Church, that could actually be really interesting. Now, granted, this is me projecting the movie I want to have as opposed to the movie we got, and I don't think it's really fair to the movie that exists. That being said, just imagine the balls that like a horror movie like that would have to have a evil nun character, but not just be like, oh, it's sacrilegious to the church so much as like, no, it is a representation of the church. This is what the church actually is. That's kind of a cool concept. We'll never get that because that's just not what this franchise is, but that's a cool idea. I would definitely watch that. That sounds awesome. But as is, The Nun 2 fucking sucks, and we're probably getting our goddamn Conjuring movie, and I'm so fucking sick of these bad horror movies. And The Exorcist just came out this weekend, and I've heard that sucks too. Means I gotta watch another one of these. That thing's almost 2 fucking hours long. At least this thing's a breeze. Was this an hour and a half? It felt like an hour and a half. I don't know anymore. Anyway, I got a bunch more movies to review, so we're just gonna wrap it up here. Nun 2 fucking sucks. Next movie.